It was a really sensitive nerve that Ford pushed when giving it one of the most famous sports car names in history, Mustang. A big part of the Mustang community went a little crazy, but that has settled down now. So what is this really all about? An electric car from Ford, which dazzlingly strategic, gave it its holy grail name. This means that it really needs to deliver performance-wise. Or does it really? First thing about this car, well, we must mention the color. Cyber orange. Really deep, and in the sun it pops extremely good. You can also get this in a Viper blue metallic color, and these colors, they cost 22,900 Swedish crowns. So what is that? About 2,000 euros, depending on where you are, in what country. And I really like these type of colors because they make their expressions a lot stronger. You feel that it's a big car. It feels like you're sitting in a big SUV. It's very flirtatious in that way. You look out of the bonnet, it feels like it's just eating the road. And it's nice to look at because this cyber orange color, it makes you in a good mood. I really like this color. Or you got the one pedal drive you can set, and that really breaks you down to 0 when you let off the accelerator. So that's one of the things that gives you some regeneration. You can also push this button here, which has an L on it, and then it gives some regeneration. If you push that off, well, then the car would just roll and it will not regenerate anything. But I think that you have a very high position as you sit. You can push down a little, but you tend to sit rather high in this car. But you have a good vision all around and you see very well. I don't think that these 8 pillars here, they are that much in the way. You drive in whisper, and of course everything is quiet and you think that, oh, this is comfortable. But you can feel that it got some nervous tendencies. It's always a bit more on its toes. And it might be a bit annoying in the long run. You can feel that vibrations and everything, they are transferred through the chassis and up to the driver and the passengers. Even though the overall feeling is on the comfortable side. Maybe the base of this seat is a bit too short. I like when they're short. Many people want to have some extra support here. So it doesn't bother me that much, but I can feel that it's on the shorter side for longer-legged drivers. And you got all the driver aids and assistances in here. There's the lane keeping assist, which is alert, very alert. It really pulls you in as soon as you start going over those markers in the road. It's rather thirsty for electricity, so it's combined consumption is 20 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. And of course, yeah, you want to push the accelerator a bit more in this, so that gets bumped up a little more. And charging in at a DC station, 150 kilowatts, that's powerful enough. Some quick stop and splash when you're doing some longer trips. The looks. I think from the front, it looks aggressive with very sharp and angry headlights and the Mustang logo in the front. It really, like bulges up here from the big bonnet, and when you sit in it and when you drive it, it feels almost like you drive a big truck or something. Very racy with this front black lip, and the accentures are really nice with this black to this orange color. So it has a very aggressive tone about it. But as you start walking around and looking at it in profile, well, then my taste starts to wear off a bit. I really like the rims. They look very good with this black and some chrome in them. So they really express that sporty and racy character of the car. You get those red painted calipers, which says Brembo on them. So braking performance is really good, but you need that in a car that weighs over 2 tons. Looks good from all the way here until you get to the back. And it's like it's been cut off here. And at the back you get these Mustang coupe lights, which they wanted to put in. But honestly, I think it looks a bit ugly. I don't like these ones. They could have done something else with that. And then you get to the doors. You get this button to open it. And I must say, I think this is rather fun and rather refreshing. I think it works because it's comfortable. You get the grip and then you just push and it opens very smoothly. But when you get to the back, there's just a button. So you open that and then you need to get into the gap here and open it up. And that feels a bit unnatural. Even though it's not that bothersome, it feels a bit strange. I wonder what happens during the winter if there's some rain and there's a couple of minus degrees and there would be a layer on these. Would they not react, or would they get stuck? This is very American. You don't get that in so many European cars. Digits here, which you can set your code to get into the car. It's a very crossover look from the back, and that is due to, you know, practicalities and space. Also a diffuser under here. I don't know how much that works, but it's there. And you get into the boot, and the boot is 410 liters big. You get some more space, of course, when you fold the rear seats, and you get some storage under there as well. So this is just plenty enough to put in some bags when going on vacation or just your daily shopping routine. And in an electric car, it's very appreciated to have a frunk as well. This frunk, it has 100 liters of extra space, so that's pretty generous. And also the special thing about this one is that you can put some dirty stuff in it, and then you can just flush it off with water because it will run through that little hole down there. So that's a very special thing. Compared to the regular Mach-E, the rear-wheel drive version with the 269 horsepower, 70 kilowatt-hour battery, and which reaches 440 kilometers in range. Here you get a 90 kilowatt-hour battery. You get a range of up to 500 kilometers, but you get 487 horsepower, 860 newton meters of torque, four-wheel drive, one motor at each axle, and it does 0 to 100 in 3.7 seconds. So this is a very fast car. And of course, a higher price, 982,900 Swedish crowns. About 82,000 euros. The regular one costs 674,900 Swedish crowns. And that translates to 60,274,000 euros. In all electric cars, it's so instantaneous. And in sports cars like the Taycan or the e-tron and many of a kind, they're so immediate. But here you push it and there is a little delay. It's more on the comfortable side. It's not like it's pushing you back that quickly. It's well isolated when you drive on the highway. It's quiet in here. It's just some road noise from the tires. When you get into Untamed, you push it. Doesn't, you know, kick that fast. Top speed is 200 kilometers an hour. There is also something about the brakes. Very powerful brakes. These Brembo brakes are great when you push them hard, but the feeling when braking is rather hard to tune in because in lower speeds it grabs a bit and it's like, where is it? So regeneration and all that, well, you can't do that very progressively. They're very aggressive in their way, but extremely powerful when you want to just go for it. So they're more set for a track, you know, push them hard, let off, and go. So they're more for that hardcore driving and not for regeneration.
But when driving on the road, you need to be aware, like this moose that just stepped in front of us. Maybe the Cyber Orange caught its attention.
0 to 100 in 3.7 seconds. It's very quick. And this car has got some power. And it's rather amusing to drive. There is a learning curve to this car. So there is something, because this is Ford Performance Sports segment. This is a Mustang. It should deliver some sporty feeling. And of course it does. With this power, of course it delivers sportiness. But it's not just meant to go in a straight line or in some curves. Because many of the Fords, like the Ford Fiesta ST, the Ford Focus ST RS, and all of these, they have such high degree of precision when driving. But this one, it lacks somewhat with this steering feeling that is a bit numb, even a bit more numb than in many of the Mustangs. But in them, it becomes a different part of the driving. It's like you know that they are a bit numb, but you know how to manage it. So to modulate all this brake, steer, it becomes rather difficult and a bit of a challenge. But once again, a challenge in a sports car is one of the best things. But having this weight on top of all of that, well, that learning curve might be a bit too long for those driving enthusiasts that wants this car to deliver. The front is not super connected, so it wobbles a little every time the road becomes a bit uneven. And this, by just picking up some high speeds, that's not all the thrill that you want. You want to take it through some corners, some bends. It's pretty hard to define because you want that instantaneous kick when pushing it down. You haven't really calibrated that right. And that's a bit strange coming from Ford Performance. It also says Ford Performance on the seats. The torque vectoring works very effective, of course, and when pushing it into a corner, but you can feel that when attacking a corner a bit too hard with this weight, well, it's not as reassuring as a Ford Focus RS or something like that, because those cars has so much more mechanical grip than this has. So weight is a killer, but you can't get away from the fact that in a nutshell, this is a fun ride. It is engaging, but when the track is, or the surface is a bit smooth, then it works rather well. You can carry some speed through the corners because you can feel that the chassis is working well, this Magna ride. But it's comfortable at the same time. It's quiet, it's not that, crazy in a way. I like to set this on a track to really feel how it feels. Interior feels very roomy. You get this big shaded panoramic roof, which is open all the time. And in this American design, you also get a splash of some Scandinavian design, which is really, really nice because this Bang & Olufsen sound system, which sounds really, really good, you get this fabric all around. So it looks like those luxurious home speakers from Bang & Olufsen, which you have in your home, your living room. And that really puts it up another level. And the feeling of it feels very premium to me. I really like it. This thick steering wheel is very, spongy and soft to squeeze. But I like it. I like it. It's just big enough for the car, so it suits its character when you're driving along. I like that one. You got physical buttons here as well. Thank you for that. We always love physical buttons with distinct feeling and clicks in them. The seats are very comfortable to sit in. You get Alcantara and you get some leather. They feel a bit surgical with their design, but they feel good to sit in. They're very spacious, sporty but spacious, and you get the support that you need when you're driving fast. And in the corners, you also get this GT badge here, so you know that you're in the sporty version. And in American cars, there is always a lot of space everywhere. You get cup holders here, you get storage here, underneath, and down here. You open the door by this little hinge here. Charging points here, and this big screen. A big knob with distinct sound as you turn the volume up and down. Very big symbols here, so you know how to change. And that is always very good when you're driving around, because you don't want it to be too small and you need to look at it, because that takes the attention from the road. You want to change your climate and your heat in the seat and all of this. You get into these driving modes. You got whisper, so that's the quietest mode. Then you got active, a bit more power, I guess. And then you get untamed. And then you get some amplification of the some sort of engine sound as you drive along. And then you unleash, I guess, most of the power from that 90 kilowatt hour battery. This is very delicate as well. This gives you the information. This little screen here right in front of you says ground speed. I like that. Graphics are very, very crystal clear. You got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and there's also this Ford Sync, the latest version as well, that you can connect your phone to. But I like this one. It's a bit too flat put, I think. It should be tilted a bit more towards you as a driver, because it feels like you want to tilt in a bit and have a look at all the symbols here. Just a small convenience factor. And you get this knob here, which you change from park to reverse, neutral, and drive, and also low, which gives some more regeneration. The back seats, you don't get any transmission tunnel. It's flat here. Let's start by testing it out in the middle. But that's hard. That's rock hard. This one, it wasn't stuffed at all. Feels like you sitting on, leaning your back against some concrete or something. That was not so nice. But the other seats, they are spacious and good. A bit flat, but I think that the space to the roof is good. Yeah, well, you don't get that many conveniences back here. You get cup holders. Yeah, you can change the temperature. You can just set the airflow according to how much it is set in the front. And you got the USB-C and a normal USB. Well, the only beautiful thing back here is the Bang & Olufsen fabric that you can look at. Otherwise, the seats are good, and I think that it feels rather good for your knees. They've also put the seats up a bit, so they give some support under your knees. That's very good. So your knees are not that very, very high up, and you can stretch out a bit. And of course, it's very airy in here due to that big panoramic roof. So a good backseat. But the charming thing about this car is that it becomes a different breed. It's more of a cruiser. It's quiet, the cabin is quiet, the seats are comfortable. They're not that squeezy tight. They're rather wide, but at the same time they hold you in place. If you want to be a bit more ambitious through the corners, it's very well laid out. It's practical, it's airy, and it feels premium. The car might be a bit too expensive for what it is and what you get compared to some competitors. But it's a bit different and you don't see it that often. And I like that. That gives it another type of character.
The Mustangs has always been an American dream type of car since way back. Lots of heritage and pride, but when they really had to show their muscles, they mostly done it by shouting, although very great, but not really stepped up to be a razor-sharp corner-taking pro or a lap time winning one. And that is all fine, because they define as something different. And I think that in a new era of electric cars, it really kept that heritage intact. It feels a little loose and off-connected, not totally, but with more comfortable approach. And you know what? I like it. It sets it apart from the hysteria of being the best and sharpest sports EV. Dignity intact, Mustang-dignity. This is more of a rare sight on the streets. And that in my eyes is always a bit more exclusive.